Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief. It's the 6th of April and it's 7:30. Interesting night last night on the Dow, relatively flat in terms of its trading, but we did see news yesterday in terms of China, in terms of increasing their interest rates. Still quite a bit of a concern there, just purely on inflation drivers. Food inflation was up something like 11% just over the last quarter. That put the CPI up around about 4.9. So if anything there, they raised rates by 0.25%. So the 1 year lending rate's around about 6.25%. I'll just check that. But yeah, quite a surprise move. Obviously, there's still concerns over there. 6.31% now is that rate. So it's pretty close. So still major, a bit of a concern there on that inflation front. The interesting thing last night is we had quite a large movement in gold. Gold broke through to a new record high, 14.58, $10 above the old one. That was, I guess, purely, and this is where I'm thinking it's coming from, demand from China. China now has access to a lot of gold, and obviously they trade a lot in it. But due to the fact that they've now got some ETFs, particularly traded in Hong Kong and one in China, we're seeing that a lot of demand from people concerned about those inflationary pressures just moving straight to gold. You can't see that activity in the West because it sort of just feels as if, it just feels that the market's either slightly moving there, but we haven't got those inflationary pressures as we have in China. So I think there's some big funds particularly moving across to gold, purely trying to hedge themselves on what is happening in China. Okay, let's have a quick wrap as to what did occur. And we'll just have a look at the equity markets. There we go. Okay. Dow was down 6, relatively flat. S&P down 2. Nasdaq was up 2. The euro down 4. The FTSE was down 9, and the CAC was down 1, and the DAX virtually unchanged. Local market was off a little bit, only a fraction, only 3 points, 4,923. So equity markets relatively quiet there. We did have the FOMC meeting last night, and the committee seemed to be divided on whether or not they reduce the size of the stimulus or whether they keep it actually barreling on. Remember, it just happens every month, and it's certainly a lot of stimulus going through the market. One of the main concerns we always feel is whether or not it has to do with the economy's growth has to do with stimulus or whether or not it's doing it by itself. Let's see what happens on that one. But we've still got a couple of months to go of the old stimulus package. Okay, let's have a look at some of the markets now, and we'll start off with crude. Obviously, a bit of concern here. This time of price action, believe it or not, still looks quite bullish, and we've got good support here, but I would be cautious on a break below that 107.20. Remember, that was the breakout period we did have some time ago. So it still looks as if it wants to trade higher. This sort of formation still remains bullish. There's a lot of to-in and throw-in at the moment. Let's see what it does. But I guess with these things, the break to new highs through that 109 area, then you can signal out 110. I guess the key there is that the market is a little bit concerned of the slowdown in China and what effect that'll have on demand for crude. But at the moment, the market seems to be placated and haven't taken any drastic results on the consumption of crude as it's still within this range. Okay, let's have a look at copper. Copper is obviously a key driver. It is not doing that well, 424. It just seems it's going sideways at the moment. I think the expectations are there for it to continue to track sideways until we get some traction on the growth of the economy. Looking at gold, as we mentioned, very strong move there, 1455, and just right out of the blocks there from 1430. Bit of a surprise move as well. We're on new record highs, so there's quite a bit more to look at it. I think any pullback, the market would be quite happy to buy. Only a break now below 1430 would put any bullish move at risk. Okay, dollar index, very steady. Haven't seen a lot in that, 76.10, and it just seems to be just flatlining. It's just not doing anything there, so we're not getting too much lead out of that. Dollar yen, a trade which we've been on for some time, just continues to go from strength to strength. We bought some more yesterday, and I'm looking forward to that to continue to trade higher. Okay, on the local markets, let's just have a look at the SPY, All Ords. Where are you, Mr. All Ords? We'll just have a quick look. There we are there, 49.22. And as you can see, look, it still feels as if it wants to trade high, but I'm sort of concerned whether or not the effects of what happened in China will actually put a bit of dampener on it. Momentum indicators are overcooked as well. And we've got resistance here. I think the market wants to see it break through 5,000, but it does look a little bit tired, and this has been a terrific rally. And my feelings are that, and a lot of people's feelings are that perhaps we're due for just a little bit of a correction on that front. Looking at the Dow, 12,325, and you can see that it's pretty much the same thing there. So perhaps we do get some form of correction coming up pretty soon. Okay, so that's the equity markets. One thing we didn't check was the Aussie. Talking to a few people, what the few people around the traps, our market is sort of gearing itself up for a bit of a correction as well. You know how the Aussie trades up the stairs and down the escalator. You could have a sly order to sell at 102.80 on stop, because you probably pick up a quick 100 points on that one. Righty-ho. Now that's about it on that front. Let's just have a quick look at the economic calendar and see what we've got out. And trade balance, RBA cash target, 4 3/4. Expect no change. Oh, that was yesterday. Sorry. So let's move to Wednesday. Home loans, investment lending in Australia, CPI in Switzerland, IP in the UK, and manufacturing production, Eurozone GDP, we widely watch, factory orders in Germany. So there's quite a lot of data there. It'd be interesting to see, because that data will also indicate how Trichet will feel about interest rates in Europe and whether or not they are on the march up. So very important data there in Europe. MBA mortgage applications in the state, and as we've mentioned before, the Fed's doing a lot of talking around the place, just trying to keep people informed as to the current situation. Well, that's pretty much about it in terms of the morning debrief. Of the trades we're still got on, we're still long grains. We're long dollar yen. Missed the gold trade. I think that came out of left field for me, so a little bit concerned there. Crude we don't have too much on. Still in natural gas. Natural gas seems to be just made along going sideways, so looking for a break there pretty soon. So that's about it from me. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll certainly talk to you over the next couple of days. Bye for now.